Welcome back to our series, How to Pray. My name is Avraham Apatow, and today we're going to continue speaking a little bit more about the Tetragrammaton. This is an issue I would like to share some of my personal reflections about because it's something that I've thought about for many years. As I was struggling in my own prayers, I thought to myself, here's this name that was revealed to Moses by God himself at the burning bush. It's the source of all the power of the Jewish people. It was the means by which Moses was able to perform all the miracles in the Exodus from Egypt. And here my people is in exile for thousands of years, suffering tremendous persecution at the hands of terrible tyrants and enemies throughout the world. And I wondered, why is it that that power and that mystery and secret of that name is so revealed and hidden from our people? And I think this is something that many Jewish people think about. In fact, obviously many Christian people as well, because the internet is filled with articles and videos discussing this topic. But after years of thought and deep reflection on this issue, I came to a very important realization that I found deeply satisfying, and I would like to share it with you. I think ultimately Judaism is not about power and magic names that allow us to achieve miracles. Certainly, many miracles have been done for our people through history. I believe that the miracles that we see in contemporary Israel are on an equally or greater scale than the miracles described in the Bible. I live in a country in which thousands upon thousands of missiles have fallen on our land over the past 20 years. I've seen those missiles fall outside my window. I've heard those explosions. Those missiles have landed at the doorsteps of several of my friends' homes. And yet, despite the attempts of our enemies and the millions upon millions of dollars that have spent to attack the Jewish people, very, very few people have actually been injured. Very, very few, maybe a handful of people have died because of those missiles. That is a miracle greater than any of the miracles that I've read about in previous wars. It's an ongoing, astonishing miracle. It may be hidden within the veils of nature, that a missile just seems to miss. One after the other misses or is knocked down by our defense system. But the ongoing, continuing defense system that occurs, and the fact that so many of those missiles, perhaps something like a third to half of them, have fallen into empty spaces or into places where people were not currently situated, is an astonishing miracle. And it's an evidence of the protection of the God of Israel continuing in our present times. And this tremendous miracle is done in a time in our history when we don't have the use of the expression of the Tetragrammaton as it was expressed in the times of the temple. So you don't need this holy name to have miracles. The wars that were won by the Israeli army against enemies that were outsized and outarmed over its history are further support of this. You don't need a temple. You don't need special holy names for God to work his miracles. God is able to do whatever he wants, whenever he wants. Do we pray and long to have a temple? Do we pray and long to have the revelation of these holy mysteries and the names and the return of our holy service? We certainly do. But that is not the reality that we live in right at this moment. And I think that we have to realize that at every moment we're able to serve God. The service of God and the closeness to God, our connection to God, does not depend on the revelation of mysteries. The ultimate mystery is for a human understanding to expand beyond its limits, to reach out and grasp in an intimate and sincere way its connection and closeness to the Creator, to walk with God like our ancient ancestors, like the ancient saints or tzaddikim of the Torah. And the reason that those people were tzaddikim, holy sages, is because of one basic fundamental realization. They understood in their hearts, in the deepest place, that there is a master and Lord of creation, and that we are his servants. And with that understanding, they walked through life with humility and faith and trust. And that is why our sages established the use of the name Lord in place of the four-letter name. Because that word Lord or Master is a word that expresses the ultimate faith of the Jewish people and the ancient sages, even before the Jewish people, people like Noah and all the other sages, the pre-Abrahamic sages that are listed in the Torah. They understood and had the very vivid awareness of the presence of God in their lives. They had faith in God, they had trust in God, and they had humility to realize that they were created and dependent upon that power who is the source of all. And as I explained in the previous presentations, that is the very meaning of the Tetragrammaton. The Tetragrammaton represents that God is the King of all kings, the cause of all causes, the God of all gods. He's the source of all. And because he's the source of all, he's rightfully the greatest power, which means he's the Lord and Master. And so that's what that Hebrew term Lord or Master means. The connotation is he is the ultimate power in our universe, and we have to submit to him, have humility before him, faith in him, trust him, and acknowledge him, to recognize that everything in our life is dependent on this one divine being. And the very purpose of the Torah is for us to receive that seed of awareness of God's existence, to place it in our hearts, to live with it, to grow with it, so that that seed can develop and come to full fruition in the way that we live our lives, the way our consciousness grows and expands, so that ideally we can live like our ancestors and walk within the presence of God. This is something that doesn't require miracles. It doesn't require holy revelations of secret names. It's a simple, sincere commitment and understanding and awareness of our relationship to our Creator. And so with that understanding, we can look at our system of blessings in the way that I've been describing and see that the very names that we use have the greatest holiness, the holiness that describes the sincere relationship, the true and pure relationship between God as Creator and the human being as the creature, the created being, the Father and his children.